the countdown ended.
Finally.
Right. I mean, the military gates opened. But instead of resting, instead of taking even one day to, like, sleep in his own bed, he was thrown straight into the unforgiving wild.
Literally the wild.
Yeah. The teasers dropped, the fandom went completely silent, and in an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
It really was. Welcome to StarScope K-Report, everyone. Today's mission for this deep dive is, honestly, it's a big one.
Huge.
We are unpacking the incredibly chaotic, highly anticipated return of BTS's Jin to the entertainment world. And this was just days after his military discharge.
Sure.
But we aren't just looking at, what he did.
Right.
We're looking at why he did it and how this bizarre, totally unscripted island survival stint might actually signal a massive shift in how the entire K-pop industry handles its biggest stars.
So join us as your hosts ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. Because from internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
We really do.
And remember, we are talking directly to you, the listener, because you are right here in the trenches with us, trying to figure out all the crazy mechanics behind the glamour.
Exactly. It's so great to have you with us today because, honestly, this story is the perfect storm of global superstardom meeting raw, unscripted reality television.
Yeah, the contrast is just insane.
Right. For years, the K-pop formula has relied on presenting idols as these untouchable, perfect beings. But the modern fandom seems to be craving something entirely different now.
Yeah, they want relatable humans.
Exactly. Humans who fail, who, complain when they are tired, and who get completely humbled by the universe.
Right.
And Jin's comeback strategy is basically the ultimate case study for this shift.
Okay, so the headline story here is Jin's appearance on MBC's Half-Star Hotel in Lost Island.
Such a wild concept.
It really is. If you aren't familiar with this program, it's a Korean variety show where guests basically travel to these remote, abandoned islands. And their job is to renovate decaying houses and literally survive off the land and sea.
Yeah, they call it a 0.5-star hotel for a reason.
Exactly. I mean, it is grueling manual labor, completely disconnected from the comforts of city life, and certainly a million miles away from the glamour of being a global pop icon.
Right. And the visual contrast of placing a member of BTS in that specific environment is exactly why it's so compelling for television. But to really grasp the gravity of this specific appearance, you have to look at the timeline.
The timeline is crazy.
It really is, because, according to the show's producer, Kim Young-jin, Jin slept for a total of 2 to 3 hours before arriving on that island for filming.
Wait, I need to stop you there. 2 to 3 hours total.
Total.
That's insane.
I know, because the very moment his military discharge was finalized on June 12th, he immediately threw himself back into the K-pop machine. Like he was in the recording studio working on new music for a solo album, he was filming music videos, and he was shooting high-end advertisements.
Just nonstop.
It's literally nonstop. The producer was actually amazed at his work ethic, noting that despite the obvious physical exhaustion, Jin's commitment was completely unwavering. He had even been actively communicating with the production team before his discharge to make sure this island shoot happened perfectly on schedule.
Okay, let's unpack this because I have to play devil's advocate here. This timeline sets off some major alarm bells for me.
Oh, absolutely.
When you hear that a global superstar is sleeping 2 hours before being sent to a physically grueling reality show, you really have to wonder about the mechanisms of this industry.
Yeah, is this healthy?
Right. Is this a symptom of the immense, sometimes toxic expectations placed on idols? Because the industry is notoriously demanding, and that fear of losing relevance during a military hiatus is very real. Or, is this purely Jin's relentless personal drive to reward his fandom?
It's a tough call.
Because if I'm his management agency, HYBE, I am putting him in a controlled, air-conditioned studio for a safe magazine interview. I am not sending my billion-dollar asset to an island where he could, twist an ankle on a wet rock. I mean, it's like going straight from the Met Gala to a season of Survivor with 0 sleep.
That is the perfect analogy, and it is a totally valid concern. But to answer it, we really have to look at how military enlistment usually works for K-pop groups.
Right, it's a huge disruption.
Historically, that 18-month mandatory military service has been a death knell for boy bands. The momentum stops, the public moves on, and younger groups take their place.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. So Jin is essentially the anchor leg in a massive corporate relay race right now. The rest of BTS is currently enlisted and won't be back together until 2025.
Right.
Jin was the first to go in and the first to come out. So his media bliss isn't just a comeback, it's a strategic holding action. He's keeping the baton moving, keeping the Hallyu wave strong, and keeping the brand relevant while his bandmates finish their service.
So it's a highly calculated PR strategy entirely disguised as chaotic reality TV.
Exactly.
That makes the collision of these two worlds even more fascinating, because you have the ultimate polished idol walking into the ultimate unpolished environment.
And you see that collision the absolute second he arrives.
Yeah.
Picture the cinematic contrast, right? Jin is on the boat, heading to this desert island, and he is full of that classic, slightly arrogant variety show confidence.
Oh, I can see it now.
Yeah, he is boasting to the camera, spreading his arms wide, declaring, "I'm going to catch something this big." Like, he fully expects to be the conquering hero of this island.
I can completely picture him hyping himself up, fully leaning into his worldwide handsome persona, just expecting the island to bow to his presence.
Exactly. But then the boat docks. He warmly greets legendary Chef Lee Yeon Bok, expecting a nice, deferential welcome, and instantly the show's fixed cast member, An Jung-hwan, completely shatters the illusion.
Oh man, An Jung-hwan does not mess around.
He does not. He's a former national soccer player and a very no-nonsense veteran of these extreme environments. He looks at Jin, completely ignores the superstar aura, and just says, "Unload your bags and get to work."
Wow. Brutal.
Right. So Jin tries to play the sympathy card, mentioning he'd only rested for a single day since his military discharge. And An Jung-hwan coldly replies, "1 day is enough." It completely sets the tone.
That is just brilliant television. It strips away the idol armor immediately. And, I mean, it didn't take long for the physical reality of island life to humble him, especially when it came to the infamous eel trap incident.
Yes. Okay, this is where we get into some classic fandom, KT. Because Korean netizens, those highly engaged internet users who dissect every single frame of these shows,
They miss nothing.
nothing. They were absolutely losing their minds over this online. So Jin and B1A4's Sandeul, who actually happens to be a close friend of his, were tasked with placing bait in an eel trap. And this bait is notoriously pungent. It is rotting, awful-smelling fish. An Jung-hwan specifically warns them, "The smell lasts for 2 days if you touch your nose with baited hands."
And as a superstar who's literally just named a global ambassador for luxury brands, having hands that smell like rotting fish for 48 hours is probably not on the itinerary.
Definitely not.
So Jin tries to game the system. He proposes a game of rock, paper, scissors with Sandeul to determine who has to handle the smelly bait. It is such a classic display of maknae energy.
Which is incredibly ironic. And we should probably explain why that matters here.
Yeah.
In K-pop, the maknae is the youngest member of a group, right?
Yeah.
Usually associated with being playful, mischievous, and, constantly trying to get out of chores.
Yeah, the chaotic younger sibling vibe.
Right. But Jin is actually the oldest member of BTS. Yet in this dynamic, he totally reverts to that chaotic, playful energy to try and save himself from the bait.
He really tries to cheat fate. But the universe has other plans, and he loses the game.
Oh, he loses spectacularly. He ends up having to handle the rotting bait with his bare hands, facing this gross punishment while his friends are just highly amused.
Oh, God.
And the netizens found it hilarious because it is the perfect unscripted variety show moment. The global icon, fresh out of the military, gets immediately humbled by a simple game of rock, paper, scissors, and some dead fish. It makes him instantly relatable.
It really does. I mean, it shows a willingness to be the punchline, which is a really rare trait for someone at his level of fame. But listen, if you love staying updated on your ultimate bias, like your absolute favorite members in the industry, and you want all the behind-the-scenes KT, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an update.
Definitely do that, because honestly, that's not even the wildest part of this comeback. Wait until you hear what happened when he actually got out of the water and into the kitchen. Spoiler alert. It involves a top celebrity chef, almost offering him an entirely new career path.
Oh, man. Well, the island was clearly designed as a genuine test of survival, not just a backdrop for funny games. If we break down the factual timeline of his first day, Jin initially really struggled.
Damn, he had a hard time.
He was sent out into this harsh, unforgiving sea to dive for seafood, and he was visibly frustrated. The cameras caught him complaining, "I can't see anything," getting tossed around by the waves. He even suffered a minor injury while doing manual labor on the rocks.
Which is scary. But, it's important to know that official reports confirmed the cast and crew were extremely attentive and took great care of him after the injury.
Right, they kept him safe.
But they didn't hide his struggle. And what's fascinating here is that showing him failing and complaining in the water makes the eventual turnaround so much more satisfying. An Jung-won eventually steps in, giving Jin some much-needed one-on-one coaching in the water.
And the coaching actually pays off.
Yeah.
Jin finally manages to catch some wild seafood. He pops out of the water, holding up his catch, and literally screams, "Wow, it feels like the whole world is mine." It's this moment of pure, unfiltered triumph. You really can't script that kind of genuine relief.
You really can't. And he takes that triumphant energy straight back to the point 5-star kitchen, which is where things get truly surprising.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about the food.
We have to talk about the culinary feats he pulled off, because they demonstrated a level of skill nobody was expecting. We are talking pristine, post-military knife skills.
The footage of this was just wild. He was expertly slicing continent oysters into these perfectly thin, linear pieces. He was handling sea cucumbers, which he openly admitted he had never even touched before in his life, all under Chef Lee Yeon Bok's guidance.
Yeah, that takes guts.
And he successfully prepared his absolute favorite dish, mulhoe, which is a complex, cold, raw fish soup that requires a very precise balance of spice and acidity.
But he didn't just stick to the basic soup. He created a hidden menu item for the island's guests, which was abalone kimbap, specifically utilizing the abalone innards. And for anyone who knows traditional Korean cooking, using the innards of an abalone properly requires a real depth of culinary knowledge. If you don't prepare them correctly, they're incredibly bitter and gritty. It takes genuine precision to turn them into a rich, savory component.
Okay, I have to be a total skeptic here.
Go for it.
Reality TV is notoriously staged, and they are dealing with one of the most famous faces on the planet. I want you listening to really think about this too. Are we absolutely sure the producers didn't just hand him a plate of perfectly pre-sliced abalone off camera to make sure the superstar didn't look bad?
I mean, it's a valid suspicion.
Right, like we know his visuals are out of this world, but was the food actually that good, or were the guests just completely starstruck by having a member of BTS hand them a plate of food?
It is a totally fair question. The instinct is to assume reality TV is manufacturing competence. But the evidence here points to the food being legitimately incredible. And the proof lies entirely with Chef Lee Yeon Bok.
Okay, why is that?
Because Chef Lee is a legend in the Asian culinary world. He has a massive, highly respected brand. He is not going to risk his own culinary reputation to coddle an idol on national television if the food tastes terrible.
Ah, that is a great point. The chef's reaction is the real barometer here.
Exactly. And Chef Lee gave Jin such high, unprompted praise for his knife skills and palate that he actually suggested on camera that they go into the restaurant business together.
That's huge praise.
Yeah. And the guests who tasted the meal were equally stunned. One guest was reportedly so moved by the depth of flavor in the kimbap and the mulhoe that they nearly cried.
Wow. And that combination of relatable struggle followed by undeniable competence resulted in a massive win for the network.
Let's look at the chart statistics, because this episode was a total ratings all-kill.
It really was.
In the K-pop music world, an all-kill usually means a song is dominating every single music streaming chart simultaneously. But here, Jin brought that all-kill energy to network television. The numbers are staggering. According to Nielsen Korea, this specific episode scored a massive 6.4% nationwide rating. It secured its position as the top Monday entertainment program for the 15th consecutive week, but more importantly, it absolutely dominated the 2049 demographic.
Right, and we should explain why it matters. The 2049 demographic, meaning viewers between the ages of 20 and 49, is the holy grail for television networks. It is the core advertising demographic in South Korea. Brands pay top dollar for those viewers, and Jin completely took over that Monday night slot, proving his individual drawing power outside of the BTS umbrella.
It proves that the strategy of placing him in unpolished environments works. But, climbing a mountain and getting covered in eel bait isn't just about good television, it's highly calculated PR.
Oh, for sure. And later in this deep dive, we'll talk about another shocking physical challenge Jin put himself through just 5 days after his release, one that had him openly questioning his own sanity on camera.
Yes, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, this transitions perfectly into the next phase of what you could call the Jin cinematic universe.
The JCU.
The JCU. The Island Survival Show was a massive hit, but it was on a traditional television network. HYBE, his agency, knows that to truly mobilize the global fandom, they need content they control entirely. And that brings us to the launch of his very own self-produced variety spinoff, Run Jin.
Okay, yes. Run Jin is the ultimate fan service vehicle. It premiered on August 13th, broadcast simultaneously on the BTS YouTube channel and on Weverse.
And for those who might not know, Weverse is essentially a dedicated fan community super app. It's a closed ecosystem where artists can interact directly with their most dedicated fans, completely free from the noise of public social media.
It's super smart.
Releasing the show on both platforms is brilliant distribution. YouTube captures the general public, while Weverse feeds the hardcore ARMY fandom. The show is designed as a personal project to connect with fans during this transition period. But the way Jin chose to kick off episode 1 is just as wild as the island.
What did he do?
For his first solo venture, he decided to tackle Hallison Mountain.
Oh, just saying the name makes my legs hurt. For context, Hallison is a massive shield volcano located on Jeju Island, and it is the highest peak in all of South Korea. It is a grueling, exhausting, steep trek that takes hours. And Jin decided to film this hike just 5 days after walking out of the military base.
5 days, and let's not forget what else happened in those 5 days.
Right.
The physical stamina required for his schedule is just mind-boggling. Immediately upon his release, he hosted the massive 2024 Festa event in Seoul, where he personally gave 1,000 light hugs to lucky fans in a single day.
Can you imagine the emotional and physical toll of hugging 1,000 sobbing, ecstatic fans, and then a few days later you are staring down the highest volcano in the country?
It's a recipe for total burnout.
Yeah.
And what makes episode 1 of Run Jin so brilliant is that it beautifully captures reality hitting him right in the face.
I love this part.
Right. He starts the hike at the base of the mountain, full of that same boundless energy we saw on the boat. He is marching up the trail, chatting with the crew. But as the mountain gets steeper, the exhaustion really sets in. The idle facade drops completely.
There is this hilarious, incredibly relatable moment of self-reflection captured on camera. He is out of breath, sweating, and he just looks at the lens and says, "I think I got too excited and mistakenly thought I could do anything."
It is the ultimate admission of human frailty from a superstar.
Yeah.
You get this burst of freedom, you overcommit to your schedule, and suddenly you're halfway up a volcano regretting every life choice that led you there.
I think anyone who has ever aggressively planned a Monday morning schedule on a Friday afternoon can completely relate to that feeling.
Oh, totally.
But amidst all the suffering, the episode had so much warmth. You see fellow everyday hikers passing him on the trail, recognizing him, cheering him on, and offering him snacks. It really grounds him in the real world.
And it sets up one of the best comedic beats of the entire week. While he is suffering on the side of this mountain, he decides to make a phone call. He calls his close friend, Baek Jong-won.
Okay. And Baek Jong-won is a massive culinary entrepreneur in Korea, essentially the Gordon Ramsay of the country, known for his deep knowledge of regional food.
Right, so Jin is on Jeju Island, climbing this historic volcano, and he asks Baek Jong-won, what is Jeju Island famous for?
Setting him up for a great quote.
Exactly. He is clearly fishing for a deep, meaningful, poetic answer about the landscape or the history to use for the broadcast. And Baek Jong-won, without missing a single beat, just deadpans, oranges.
Just oranges.
Yeah.
It completely deflates the dramatic tension in the best way possible.
It totally undercuts the drama. But it also highlights Jin's incredible network and how naturally he creates entertaining television out of thin air. He knows exactly how to pace a variety show, and he is fully committed to keeping this chaotic energy going. The ending teasers for future episodes of Run Jin showed him arm wrestling high school students at his old alma mater and getting soaked with water while wearing a full suit.
So what does this all mean? We have to look at the macro picture here. If you examine Jin's current schedule, it is a staggering duality.
It really is two extremes.
On one hand, he is fulfilling the traditional superstar requirements. He was chosen as a torchbearer for the 2024 Paris Olympics. He has just been named a global ambassador for both the luxury French jewelry brand Fred and the Italian fashion house Gucci. Those are highly manicured elite spaces.
But on the other hand, he is dominating network television on NBC by smelling like fish bait, and he's conquering streaming with Run Jin by complaining his way up a volcano.
It is a masterclass in modern celebrity PR. He is maintaining his elite, untouchable status with Gucci and the Olympics, while simultaneously proving his relatable humanity on variety shows.
Best of both worlds.
And the statistics prove the strategy is working flawlessly. Episode 1 of Run Jin hit over 1.06 million views in just a matter of hours. The fandom is mobilized, the general public is tuning in, and you can guarantee every other K-pop agency is taking furious notes on this playbook.
Oh, without a doubt. And if you want to keep riding this wave with us and analyzing how these massive entertainment strategies unfold, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops and deep dives ahead.
It truly is awe-inspiring to watch how he is managing this transition. He took what could have been a very vulnerable period of military hiatus
Right.
and weaponized it into the biggest comeback of the year.
He absolutely did. And it brings me back to a thought I've been sitting with while we've been analyzing these sources. Seeing Jin dominate these grueling, physically exhausting variety shows raises a critical question about the future. Are we seeing a permanent shift in the K-pop industry? For decades, the formula was safety. Agencies protected their idols behind highly manicured, safe studio interviews and tightly controlled reality shows where they always looked perfect.
The untouchable god era.
Exactly. But will the future of idol promotions move away from that? Will agencies lean more into this raw, chaotic, survival-style content? Because clearly the audience has evolved. They don't just want a perfectly choreographed dance routine anymore.
Right, they want more.
They are craving the authenticity of seeing a superstar struggle up a mountain, lose a petty game over smelly eel bait, and admit that they are just as exhausted as the rest of us.
It turns out stripping away the idol armor might be the best way to prove you are actually a star. You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.